You remember that.
Could we show that again?
No, we can't.
Could we see that a couple more
We're
times?
on to a new season.
Oh, come on.
LeBron James and the Cavs play the Spurs in Cleveland. First time LeBron's seen Tim in the Spurs since last season's NBA Finals. Tonight will be offense versus defense. Over the last 10 days, guys, the Spurs have been the best defensive efficiency, and the Cavs have the best offensive efficiency. The game will be a battle of styles.
They've always been, kind of a blueprint on how things, as far as on the court and off the court, playing as a team off the court. This is about us and not I, and it's something that you can be, excited to be around. I've had an opportunity to be in 3 finals against them, and it's been extremely fun. I've always loved playing against them and playing against Pop. That's someone I admire and respect so much. Obviously the big 3 as well. But I wouldn't say it's a rivalry. But I would say it's definitely mutual respect. It's great competition, and they definitely helped me grow along the way. And hopefully I'll push them too.
He talked about their big 3, Tim, Tony, and Manu. We're putting the Spurs as well as the Cavaliers on the hook. Stephen A. Smith from Cleveland. What do you expect in the matchup tonight?
I expect the Cavaliers to lose this game. I just think that the San Antonio Spurs are a superior team. I was in Los Angeles last weekend, as you both well know. I was at the Spurs-Los Angeles Lakers game. Obviously, the Cleveland Cavaliers are significantly better than this assemblage of Los Angeles Lakers. Nevertheless, what I saw, Skip Bayless, scared the living daylights out of me. So much so that it took every bone in my body not to come on the air Monday and tell you I've changed my pick about who's coming out of the West. I know that the San Antonio Spurs are the best team in the West. I'm still going to stick with my pick for the Los Angeles Clippers because I believe in Doc Rivers, and I'm waiting for it to be their time. But I know that the San Antonio Spurs are a superior team, and I'm telling you right now, this kid, Kawhi Leonard, the NBA Finals MVP from last year, who closed out that 4-1 drubbing with 22 and 10, had 3 big games in the NBA Finals, and after game 1, basically just helped contain LeBron James. This kid is coming. He's on another level. He's special. He plays on both ends of the floor. He is the heir apparent, and as of right now, from what I'm told, he's pretty ticked that he didn't get his money and reach an agreement with the San Antonio Spurs on a long-term deal. So he's playing with an attitude this year. When I think about that, obviously LeBron James is the best player in the world, despite how some people may question his athleticism looks because he lost some weight and he doesn't seem to be as strong or whatever the case may be. I'm going to trust LeBron James and recognize that he knows what he's doing with his body. He's still averaging 27, 6, and 6 on 48% shooting. But I think tonight is going to be more about Kyrie Irving and Kevin Love and what they're going to be able to do against San Antonio, because that's going to give us some indication and a taste of what it's going to be like. It's going to be tough. It's going to be a hard-fought game. There will be no blowout. But I do believe the experience of the San Antonio Spurs, assuming they play everybody, will be enough to win tonight's game. But I'm more interested in watching Kyrie Irving and Kevin Love and how they're going to play in a contest like this than I am in LeBron James. I know what he's going to give you. I just need to see the other 2 guys. I'm not sure about that, and that's why I'm going with San Antonio for tonight's game.
Quick point for the record, Kawhi Leonard publicly has been very supportive of the Spurs waiting until after this season to give him his new long-term contract. Just for the record.
That's fair.
Okay.
Well, I'm just telling you, folks in San Antonio are saying otherwise. Not on the team, but people connected with the team have said it. That's all I'm saying. Okay. I don't know. I didn't speak to the Spurs about it.
I have one question that I need you to answer before I answer Carrie's question. I need you to verify something for me, because I don't know whether I just dreamed this or if it actually happened. But did it really happen that in just the last NBA Finals that the San Antonio Spurs beat LeBron James' team by a record margin? Did that happen?
Let me ask
Help
our
me
researcher.
out. Oh, Sear. Oh, Stephen Naismith, who invented the game of basketball.
You're just playing around
No,
and looking to take another shot at LeBron. That's all you're doing.
My memory goes occasionally, and I'm not sure. Was it by a record margin in the finals?
Yes, it was.
That's a yes. Okay, I want to get that on the record.
Before you answer the question,
very much.
yes, okay, I understand.
Now, back to what will happen tonight. Okay, first of all, I do believe, and you can feel free to argue about this, this is just my takeaway, my opinion, having studied LeBron James the way I try to study him. I believe he fled Miami because of what happened in the finals. And I believe he knew there was a very good shot at getting Kevin Love to join him and Kyrie in Cleveland. God bless LeBron. Not only did he go home, he went home to what I think that he thought was a better supporting cast than the one he left with Dwayne Wade and Bosh and company in Miami. Bosh was still up in the air at that point about where he was going to recommit or commit. So this is an interesting battle tonight because it will be the first early test of LeBron's new decision, his second big decision in his career, because he's going to say, hey, how will my new supporting cast, babies, some of them with no playoff experience, stand up in a big nationally televised regular season home game against the defending champion Spurs, who have occasionally been a thorn in LeBron's side. Now, for the record, the reason my Spurs are a little handicapped right now and not quite what they were in the finals is, speaking of Kentucky's white team, its second team,
sure,
or its platoon, second platoon, I should say. Sorry, Coach Cal. The Spurs white team is decimated right now. They don't have their shock troops the way they had it in the finals because they don't have Patty Mills, the electricity that he brought, and the fearless, deadly three-point shooting off the bench with the second five. They don't have your friend Tiago Splitter in the second five or sometimes in the starting lineup. And they don't have the dead eye that is Marco Bellinelli coming off the bench. So it's not quite that Spurs team. But this team this year, Stephen A., has a different mindset than last year. Last year, they beat all the teams, or almost all the teams they were supposed to beat, and they lost to all the quote-unquote contenders. They got embarrassed by Oklahoma City and Houston last year, as you recall. They got embarrassed by Indiana last year. This year, they've lost a couple of games I thought they should have won, to the Pelicans and at the Kings. Close games, but they should have won both. But this year, you saw what happened when the Big Three said, hey, we want that game and then we want that game. When they went to the Clippers and they went to Golden State, the Big Three plus Kawhi said, hey, let's go win those games. I'm going to guess that tonight they will say that again. Let's go put LeBron and his new team back in their place. Let's show the world who we are and still are. We are still the defending champs, and we are on a mission to win back-to-back, which this group has never done before, as you well know. So I'm going to go Spurs tonight 99-95 over a team in Cleveland that is struggling defensively right now.
I will say this to you, Skip Bayless, if I may jump just a touch off subject for a quick second by saying this. I listened to LeBron and what he said about the Spurs, and there's nothing to poo-poo about that. There's nothing to dismiss. He's absolutely right in terms of talking about the Spurs with the Spurs with the deference and respect that he gives them. But somewhere along the line, he is going to have to start hating this team because this team is standing in his way. LeBron James should have beaten the Dallas Mavericks. That's when he was with Miami year one. That's the only time I've ever been critical of him, is when they lost that NBA Finals. That's it. Them losing to San Antonio his first go-round, I don't even consider that a final. I didn't even consider that a final series because we all knew that the Cleveland Cavaliers had no shot of winning that series against that particular Spurs team back in 2007, I believe. When you look at the other loss to the Spurs last year, they lost. The Spurs clearly were a better team because Dwayne Wade simply was not healthy. I'm just saying that when you look at LeBron James, the great players that he was surrounded by in Miami, even though he was clearly the leader in terms of his abilities, and you look at him now where he's clearly the leader in every respect of this Cleveland Cavaliers squad, he speaks in such a way where it's like, look, I want to beat him and I want to compete with them, but if I lose to them, we understand. And I'm like, that's not going to cut it. You've got to go after these boys. You got to figure out a way because the Spurs don't look like they're going anywhere. And I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not sure I would want to see Cleveland up against the Spurs because I think that they're a year away. A minor piece, just maybe, but a year away. I don't want to see LeBron James lose another NBA Finals. But that's what would happen if he were going up against San Antonio with this Cleveland Cavaliers.
It might be another record margin this time.
You don't want to see LeBron lose another NBA Finals?
I would love to see it. It would be fine with me.
Oh, okay.
As long as it's to the Spurs.
Okay, so he doesn't want to see it.
Real quick, Stephen A., last quick point. what did you read into? Did you read any subtle criticism into LeBron's statement about needing to reduce his minutes, which was his preseason sort of campaign with his new coach, David Blatt? Do you think it was any subtle shot at Blatt in
No.
the minutes dispersed so far?
Not at all. LeBron James just knows himself and his body, and he's mindful of what he needs and what will help him as the season progresses. When you've been in the league for as many years as he's had, logging the minutes that he's logged over the course of his career, you know yourself better than anybody else. So you're basically just doing a preemptive strike, so to speak, Skip, where you're letting the world know, if you see my minutes dwindling just a little bit, it's because of me. It's because of something that I think is in the best interest of this team.
Yeah, and I still think
you think what?
LeBron's the unofficial coach of this team.
Oh,
so if he wants to take himself out, he'll take himself
out. Whatever he wants to do. LeBron James and the Cavs take on the Spurs at 7 o'clock tonight.